All right.
What is going on YouTube? And welcome back to my channel, JoJo Speaks. I am your host, JoJo Speaks from Faithful Warrior Ministries. Thank y'all so much for joining us. This being our review for 90 Day Fiance Season 11, Episode
So
15.
15.
Couple things I want you guys to do before we get started. Be sure to subscribe to my channel. Press that big red subscribe button. It is free and easy to do. Takes less than a second to match that thing. So why don't you go ahead and match it for a brother. Also, be sure to give me a thumbs up on this video. Let me know you're enjoying the content that I'm putting out on my channel. Be sure to press the notification bell so you're notified every time I post a new video. Leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts on the couples that we're discussing tonight. Dustin and I just, went back and forth about what we're going to be discussing tonight, and I'm
We're furious. We're
perturbed.
furious. Mm-hmm.
I am disgusted. I am furious, and yeah. So we'll get to it. Also, be sure to share JoJo Speaks with all your family, friends, and loved ones. Let everybody know JoJo Speaks is out here in these YouTube streets. You guys, be sure to check out my review for RuPaul's Drag Race All Stars 10 Season 4. I put that out, I believe, this past Saturday or Sunday, either Saturday or Sunday, but that is out now. I also put out a review for the finale of Survivor Season 48. Be sure to check that out, leave a comment, and like the videos as well. Thank y'all so much for your support. I truly do appreciate all the reviews. It means the world to me. I got my boy Dustin back for this review. Dustin, are you ready to get into these couples?
I'm ready as I'll ever be, Jonathan.
I guess that is all we can be. I went into this season thinking that I was liking a lot of these couples, and then we get to the last couple of episodes, and I am seeing a pattern that I am not liking whatsoever. But I guess we can start off a little light. Let's start off with the lighter of the situations, the one that don't get us nearly as upset as as the others. And so I want to start out with Greg and Joanne. So Greg and Joanne, Greg has finally paid the dowry. The dowry is similar to the bride price that we've seen in previous couples with women from Africa, where there has to be something paid by the groom in order to not buy his bride, but in essence, sort of kind of
get married.
Right, in order to get married, they have to pay a certain amount. She says it's enough to buy a certain amount of cows, and Greg thought it would be a comical thing to dress up as a cow to reveal to Joanne that he has paid the dowry. So I thought that was
pretty hilarious, that part.
I thought it was cute. I mean, if my husband had come to me in a cow suit, I'd be like, what is wrong with you? And do I need to call the authorities to contact the mental health people to see what's going on with you? Because I have no idea what this is. But Joanne thought it was cute. She said, that's nice. And she was so happy. She was picking her fro out. I love to see the fro. It was really, really cute. And also one of Greg's friend had put together a bachelorette party for her. I see Tammy down there in the comments. Hey, Tammy, thank you so much for being here. Love you, girl, for watching. She says, hello, I can't participate in this one. I don't watch it. I didn't watch it, but I'm still listening. Thank you so much for being here, Tammy. I love you so much for watching. It means so much to me that you are here, girl. Thank you so much for being here. But one of Greg's friends had planned Joanne's bachelorette party. And I have to say that it's so interesting to me that on these 90 Day Fiancé shows that a lot of these bachelorette parties are taking place in female strip clubs. I'm like, okay, y'all know I want to see the men. So I'm like, do y'all not want to see the men's too? Like, if she's a heterosexual woman, I don't know what she's going to get out of seeing women dancing scantily clad for her. And Joanne seemed so nervous. She seemed so out of place. She seemed so anxious. She did not seem like she was having fun. She was just going along just to get along. It was really awkward for me to watch Joanne at that strip club. And Greg's friend was like, yes, I'm going to order you. I'm going to provide for you a lap dance so you can see how we do it here in America. It's like, okay, yeah, that's nice, girl, but I want to see the men's, honey. I want to see the men's. And Joanne did mention something about, because, when she told Greg that his friend had, planned her bachelorette party, He said, "Oh, are you going to see a lot of slong? Slong being, the slang word for a penis
Hey,
or whatever."
Bianca.
Hey, Bianca, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you.
So he thought, just as I would have thought, that she was going to a male strip club. Bianca says down in the comments, "Happy Monday, Jonathan. Happy Monday to you, Bianca. Happy Monday, Dustin. Happy Monday, everybody. Thank you so much for being here, Bianca. Love you for watching. Love you, Tammy, for watching as well." So
Happy
yeah.
Happy Memorial Day to everybody. And
Yes. Thank you so much for saying that, Dustin. I should have said that at the top. Happy Memorial Day to everyone. My dad put up a post. My dad is retired Army Army vet, a Vietnam vet, and so he's put out a lot of stuff on Facebook commemorating the Memorial Day. But
thank you
anyways,
for
I
your
hope
service
you all
for your dad.
are enjoying your day off if you are off for this Memorial Day. But Greg made a joke about thinking that she was going to go to a male strip club, and she was like, "No, we're going to see the boobies." So, Dustin, what did you think was going on in Joanne's mind when she goes to this female strip club and she's being encouraged by the other women? Greg's mom went with them, by the way. She said she had never been to a strip club before, and I thought that was really awkward to take your soon-to-be mother-in-law, to a strip club with you for your bachelorette party. Dustin, what were your thoughts on this entire situation?
I think the whole situation was awkward. I would have thought I would have thought I would have never seen my future mother-in-law in a strip club. I would never expect, if I was to get married, I would never expect had to have my future mother-in-law involved in that kind of stuff, because I don't know if she would like that kind of stuff. And I think I would feel very uncomfortable having her in a strip club. That's just me, Jonathan. I would not have my future mother-in-law involved in that kind of something like that. That's just me. I didn't like the whole situation. I don't think she really liked it herself. I could kind of tell that she was kind of iffy on that situation, and I could tell that she kind of felt kind of awkward with that situation, and I would agree with that.
Right. And I also want to say, the reason why I say that it would be awkward for Joanne in particular is because she's not close to Greg's mother. So,
No,
now if I'm going to get married, and I have a close relationship with my husband's mother, and she wanted, to go to our bachelor party, if we have that type of relationship, then yeah, let's go see some men, honey. Like, I will probably be excited, especially if we have that relationship. But Joanne does not have that relationship with Greg's mother. So I can only imagine. And once again, it was written all over Joanne's face how
how she
uncomfortable she
felt.
was
Mm-hmm.
in that moment. And I just felt so bad for her. But hopefully she still had a good time. It didn't seem like she was dreading going. It seemed, they got her a whole limo. They had her riding in style. I applaud Greg's friend for doing her best to allow Joanne to have a good time. I respect her efforts. I really do. It's just that in this type of situation, when Joanne clearly is not that close to Greg's family, it's just awkward to watch that. It's just really awkward to watch that. But seems like something really major is going to go on in the next episode between Greg and Joanne. So we'll see what that's all about. I didn't really catch on to what they were talking about in the
Greg
preview for the
lost his
next
job
episode.
again. Mm-hmm.
Oh wow. Okay. And he just started working that job too. Wow. That's unfortunate. That is so unfortunate.
He lost his job. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was in the preview. Mm-hmm.
But I wish the best for Greg and Joanne. Greg seems like a great guy. He really does.
Right.
When he and Joanne were hugging, he was hugging her in the cow suit, mind you. He kind of grabbed her butt a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So I like to see that kind of stuff. That affection. I love to see that type of affection, and that shows me. Some people are with people just for the physical, but some are there for the physical and the emotional. So I would hope that he's there for the physical and emotional. But I love to see those gestures of affection when he grabbed her booty. I love seeing that. But let's move on to our next couple. We have Sean and we have Aaliyah. So In
Mm.
this particular episode, was it in this episode or the last episode that Sean gave her the prenup? Was it last episode?
It was in this episode.
It was in this episode. Okay, just making sure. So
Sure.
they're going getting pretty far in this particular storyline, but you know,
They have
Aaliyah's
2
kind
days
of
until
do
the wedding. 2 days until the
yeah.
wedding.
You know, Aaliyah's starting to do her hair, you know, getting ready for the day. And Sean is a little apprehensive about asking her to sign this prenup, but he wants, and it's not necessarily that clear to me why he wants her to sign a prenup, besides the fact that he feels like she will go too far with the plastic surgery. And I
Mhm.
guess he's saying if she goes too far with the plastic surgery, does too much to her body to change herself, that would make him not want to interact with her or be with her anymore, that you know he might consider having a divorce, which that's kind of weird to me. I've never heard of anyone wanting a prenup for those reasons. However, Sean is not your average man. Sean
No,
somewhat confuses me a little bit. um I can't really put my foot or my finger on, you know, what his actual sexuality is, because you know he has a former wife, an ex-wife. He has children, so
mhm,
he's clearly in some way, shape, or form attracted to women. However, he is with a trans woman, so and he's nervous about her having her gender reassignment surgery to remove her penis, and so it's like, you know, if he's nervous about her getting her penis removed and he doesn't know if he'd want to still be with her if she has her penis removed, then that tells me that he would like for the penis to be in the room. So you
mhm,
know, they go to his mother's house. She has not signed the prenup by the time they get to his mother's house. I'm assuming
mhm,
that's a couple of days later. And it's the 4th of July. And it really cracks me up when parents like to celebrate like American holidays with these people who are not from America. Like, why would she care anything about the 4th of July? She's not from America. She doesn't care about the 4th of July. She doesn't care about America's independence. What is this? But anyways, Sean's mother seems to be a really nice woman.
mm,
And you know, she's asking them what's going on with the wedding plans, what's going on, give me an update. And you know, he reveals to his mother that he wanted Aaliyah to sign a prenup. And Aaliyah comes right out and says, you know, I have not signed the prenup yet. Well, actually, Sean is the one that says that she hasn't signed the prenup yet. And, you know, Aaliyah says, you know, she just wants to make sure that she's making the right decision. And I agree
mm,
with Aaliyah about that. If you feel uncomfortable with signing a prenup, it makes you feel as though the love is not there in the relationship, because like I said in our previous review, I really don't
right.
see like attraction or love between Sean and Aaliyah.
I don't either.
It's really weird to watch because you know these 90-day fiance couples are supposed to be in love, and I don't see love or even friendship between Sean and Aaliyah. But you
Mm,
know, Aaliyah says she wants to take some time out to try to decide as to whether she wants to go along with this prenup or not. I can understand why there will be question marks about a prenup. There's another couple who brings up a prenup in their wedding talks as well. We'll get to a little bit later on in the show.
yeah.
So what are your thoughts, Dustin, on the reason why Greg wants Aaliyah to sign a prenup and Aaliyah's hesitation to actually sign the prenup? What are your thoughts?
Well, I think that I agree with her on not wanting. I can agree with her on having an issue with signing the prenup, especially if they didn't talk to it about, especially if they didn't talk about it before
Two
now.
days before their wedding. 2 days before their wedding, he brings up a prenup. That's crazy.
2 days, but that don't give you enough time to think about it, Jonathan.
Right.
If you want to have a prenup, you need to have like when the first day she gets there, you need to have a talk about that because that's serious, and you need to
Mhm.
have the rest of the 90 days. Like when you first hit the first day in America, you need to talk about that because that's just me. I think you need to have as long a time as you have, and there's 3 months to think about if you want to sign the prenup or not, and don't do it in the last 2 days. That is way too short of a time. And honestly, I don't think she's gonna sign the prenup. And if she does, I'll be surprised because I don't think she's gonna go through with it. And if she don't go through with it, be my guest. You can go back to go back to where you came from and be happy there. Because honestly, I don't agree. I mean, I agree for the prenup side, but I don't agree with him asking her for the last 2 days and before the wedding. That's too much of a short time for me, Jonathan. I like
I
to
I
ha-
I, I agree, Dustin.
I would like to have a lot of time, have a little bit of time to think about the prenup thing before I was asked to sign for a prenup, and especially in a marriage like that. So no, thank you. Please move forward. Go on to the next one.
Mamir's down in the comments. Hey, Mamir, thank you so much for
Hey,
being
Mamir.
here. Love seeing you in the comments. Mamir says, "Hey, everyone. Hope you all are having a great long weekend. Yes, we are. We are enjoying our weekend, Mamir. Thank you so much for
Yes.
being here. And as we saw in the preview for the next episode, it looks like Aaliyah might be leaving Greg at the altar. Might be. I don't know.
Didn't
We
show.
don't. I just don't know. And here's my thing: I don't have issues with a prenup. I really do not have issues with a prenup. Even Greg's mother said, "Oh,
Mhm.
I'm sorry, Sean's mother said, you know, you got yourself to this point. You know, you've worked hard to get yourself to a certain point financially. So I understand why Sean wants a prenup. I really do, but." Bringing up a prenup 2 days before your wedding, that tells me that it seems like you're giving me an ultimatum. Even
That
either
is
I
an
sign
ultimatum, Johnson.
it is exactly, Justin. It's an
Right.
ultimatum whether either I sign this prenup or we're not getting married. And to
Right.
me, that does not sound like love. To me, that does not sound like care. To me, that does not sound like you're emotionally in tune to where we are as far as our relationship is concerned. So
That's right.
it's but again, I would love to see if there and I still haven't watched the previous episodes, so I'll probably take the time out. And I know I said this last week, but I'll probably take the time out sometime this week to see the previous episodes to see if I see any type of love or friendship between Sean and Aaliyah. Because at this point, I really don't even see them
I
as
don't.
friends.
I
Like
don't.
it's
Mm,
really awkward to watch them together, and I don't see any attraction between the two. So it's almost
mhm,
like it's almost like a gay man, which I'm not
mm.
saying that Sean is gay, but I'm just, kind of comparing. It's almost like a gay man marrying his really, really pretty best friend. Like
No,
that's
I
sort of the
agree.
kind of thing that I'm getting, like just to kind of show that, he's a man and all this good stuff. So yeah,
Right.
that's where I am with that. But we'll see what happens next week. Do Dustin, do you want to see this couple move forward? Do you want to see them get married? What are your thoughts on
I
that?
want to see that. I want to see them break apart.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
want. I want to. I want to. I want to see them. I want to see them both be happy. And if they get married and they be why get married and be miserable? And
right.
I see the long haul for her. For I don't see them happy. So why be miserable?
Exactly.
The honest thing for me is I want it to be if if she does not show up to the wedding next episode, which I don't think she's going to, but
Mm.
I just don't think she's going to. I don't think she's going to be happy for the long haul. No, I don't. Mm,
Yeah, to be honest, I would say I don't want to see them get married because
I don't
I
either.
don't know if Aaliyah is safe in this relationship. And that's not to say that he would have, any type of DV against her or try
Uh,
to abuse her or anything of that nature. But I just want to see more love between them. Amir says not signing the prenup is a red flag for a lot of people. On the other hand, being asked can be genuinely offensive. Absolutely. Thankfully, we were dirt poor, and prenup wasn't an issue when I got married. Okay, I hear you on that, Miss Mabir. I hear you on that. Yeah, I. The prenup is such a touchy subject because when you
mhm,
ask someone to sign a prenup for you, if you are actually in a loving relationship, it creates questions in your mind as to, okay, so it seems like you must not trust me, or you think
uh,
if we do break up that I will try to take you for all you have, or something of that nature. And those
uh,
and those are valid questions. Those are
they are
valid things that will come to your mind if you're asked to sign a prenup. Once again, if you're in a certain situation, let's just say you are a very rich person and you are marrying someone who's not on the same financial level as you are. I get that, especially if you're just meeting them. Maybe you're getting married kind of quickly, maybe like
right.
6 months or less after you've met them, and you want to get married, but you still want to protect yourself at the same time. In certain situations, I can understand wanting to sign a prenup. So I understand why Greg wants Aaliyah to sign a prenup. He really doesn't know her that well. It doesn't seem like they've been together for that long. I'm not exactly sure how long they've been together, but I get why Greg wants her to sign a prenup. But once again, I believe his main issue is asking her to sign a prenup
Mm.
2 days before they're supposed to get married, and that to me is
That's a red flag.
it is a red flag, as Mamir said, and also, in my opinion, is very unreasonable. I believe is very unreasonable, and
Mm.
I don't understand what he thinks her reaction would be to her signing a prenup 2 days before they get married. But anyways, and I'm doing this in order of the couples that irritated me from the least to the most. So the next couple that we have here is
Mm.
Stevie and Marty. Dustin,
Mm.
when I tell you, I feel so bad for Marty. So bad for Marty. You
Mm.
can see it in Marty's eyes how much he seems to be
Y-
regretting his
y-
decision of coming to America and getting in a
mm.
relationship with Stevie.
Mhm.
So the main thing that happened between Marty and Stevie is that, Marty and Stevie, they're supposed to get married in
Mm.
a day or two. I
Two
think they're
days.
supposed to get
Two
supposed to
days
get
from
married
away.
the next day, right? And he's still unsure of her sexuality. He's asked her if she's bisexual in episodes before. The episode
Mhm.
before, the one that we started, Dustin, he did ask her if she was bisexual. She really didn't answer the question. She was like,
Mhm.
well, if you want me to say yes, I'll say yes. That's not really the answer to the question. And the fact that
Mhm.
she keeps avoiding answering the question tells me that she is more than likely bisexual. Because if that's not what you are, you say no with your chest that you're not bisexual. If someone
If
asked
you,
me if I was heterosexual, I'd say hell no, I'm not heterosexual. I love the men's. Okay, like that's
mm,
something that is so innate within each and every one of us that of course, we can question our sexuality at times, and I understand why that may come up. However,
right.
Stevie is 37 years old, and
Mhm.
so I have a hard time believing that
I can't remember how old he is, but that's okay.
he's 26. He is
Mm.
26 years old, and seems very mature for a 26-year-old. However, I'm thinking that he may not have had much experience in relationships before. He seems to be
Right.
new to this type of thing because he gets real nervous about bringing up certain conversations with Stevie and things of that nature. And I get that because Stevie seems to be very, very self-aware and assured of herself and who she is, which once again makes me even more confused as to why she does not want to answer this question as
Mhm.
to her sexuality. But anyway, so they're heading to this hotel, this old hotel. Can't remember exactly what the name of it was, but they're going to this hotel before the day of their wedding. And on their way there, Stevie is like, Marty, you're very quiet. You're not saying anything. And Marty says, I really don't want to bring it up right now. And, Stevie's like, say it with your chest, as I said a little bit earlier. And Marty's like, he wants to put it off until they get to the room. So they get to the room and, Marty asks Stevie once again, are you bisexual? And he even goes to the extra extent of apologizing for asking her again. But if you have to ask a question more than once, then that tells me that you're more than likely not getting a truthful answer the first couple of times
Mhm.
that you ask the question. And
Mhm.
for Stevie, first of all, when they're in the car, Stevie's like, say it with your chest. So when Marty, he doesn't necessarily say it with his chest. He says it, a little timidly, but he asks the question nonetheless. And she's like, oh, I'm too tired. I don't want to go through this right now. And
Mm.
Dustin, I wanted to throw my tablet across the room.
You're not the only
And
one, Jonathan.
that's not even the worst of it in this episode. But Dustin, what do you think is going on with Stevie and why she
Mhm.
does not want to reveal to Marty her truthfulness as it relates to her sexuality? What are your thoughts? What do you think she's holding back? Why do you think she's holding back? What do you think?
Because she don't want to tell the truth. I think she is. I think she is bisexual. I don't think she wants to say it. She needs to be honest with her uh, fiance, her future husband. I think she, I think she's more interested in women. I don't think she's
Mm,
interested. I don't think she's interested in Marty. I don't think she's. I don't think that
mm,
she wants to be married to Marty at all. One point blank.
mm.
Period. I think this. I think. I don't think the wedding's going to go through. The last two. This is the last two final days before the wedding, and if it goes through, then I will say it went through. But I'm not going to say right now it's going to go through because I don't think she's going to go through with it.
Dustin, why is it that you think Stevie isn't interested in Marty and doesn't want to marry him? Why do you say that?
Because she's acting like she wants to be with a female,
Mm, mm,
and she's acting like she's bisexual. Uh, she don't want to say what she feels like, and
hmm.
I'm the type of person that I will say what's on my mind, Jonathan. You know that about me.
Right.
And I don't hold back. I don't hold back. This is the way I feel about the way I feel about this season. The way I feel about this couple is not very good. I think that she's hiding the way she really feels,
Marty said in his confessional that he's starting to regret coming over to America, and he
and I
began to
feel
get
terrible. I feel terrible for him. I
I
do.
felt terrible for him as well, Dustin. It's like I just want to give him a hug. I just want to comfort him. I just want to tell him, there are so many women out here who would do anything to be with because Marty to me is a fine man. Like he's an extremely attractive man. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
he seems to be such a good-hearted person. And I have no idea how he ended up with Stevie. Once again, I guess I should, watch the previous episodes to kind of get an idea of how they ended up getting together. But
Right.
um, you know, uh, Marty seems to be so genuine and so
Mm.
authentic with his feelings that it's very rare that you find, especially a man from the Middle East. I can't remember exactly what country he's from.
I
He
can't
did mention
remember
it
either,
during the
Jonathan.
yeah, he did mention it during the episode. It's somewhere in the Middle East, and these tend to be my favorite men to watch on the show.
Right.
However, Marty is extremely different from a lot of other men who come from the
Mm-hmm.
Middle East that are on the show.
Mm-hmm.
He's not nearly as I don't want to say controlling, but maybe abrasive is a better
Mm-hmm.
term.
Abrasive.
Kind of putting his foot down on what he wants and what he will accept and what he will not accept. But Marty's
Because
a
he t-
little
because he tells her how he really feels. At least he's honest how he feels. She's not honest about what she wants, and he's just speaking honest about what he wants, and he respects from her. He wants her to understand. I don't think she understands him in point blank period at all. Mm.
it doesn't seem like they're on the same wavelength at
They
all.
don't. She's not
It
on the
seems
same
like
page. Mm.
right. They're not even reading the same book, Dustin. I mean, it's and for them to have gotten to the point to where they decided they want to get married and
Right.
they haven't, resolved these
Right.
issues, it's a very much a red flag to moi. It's very much a red, and I'm pulling a red flag on all these couples, child. Um, it's 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 so saddening to me, Dustin. And once again, like I just want to hug Marty and tell him it's okay. I don't want Marty and Stevie to get married whatsoever.
if they
And I would want to know what is the
if
reason why
if they
Stevie wants to be with Marty. Why is she
if
with
they do
him?
get married, he's gonna be nothing but a miserable person, and I don't want nobody to have to be miserable all their lives.
I'm not sure if Marty would necessarily be miserable because she seems to make him happy on a particular level. However, her unwillingness to be truthful with him concerning the questions that he's asking is very much concerning to me. And Marty needs that closure on those
Mm-hmm.
things. And I hope that Marty gives her an ultimatum. If you don't give me a straight up, real, authentic answer to this question, then we can't get married whatsoever. We cannot get married. I don't want to see
Mm-hmm.
Steve and Marty get married at all. I
Mm-hmm.
don't like because to be what does she think Marty's reaction will be if she tells him that she's bisexual? Does she think that he's going to leave her? Because if that seems to be the only reason why she wouldn't tell him. Because why else wouldn't she tell him? So,
Mm-hmm.
anyways, I'm done with Stevie. Marty, you are a-okay, a number one in my book, Marty. I'm rooting for
Me
you.
too.
I hope you find the love of your life. I hope you find a woman who meets all of your needs on every single level and whom's needs you can meet on every single level and have a very healthy, happy relationship. Because I see
Mm-hmm.
Marty as such a good man. And for
Mm-hmm.
Stevie to not want to be truthful with him on these questions, it's just taking me over the top. But
Mm-hmm.
anyways, let's move on to Jessica and Juan.
Oh my God, where do I begin?
Another couple that
Oh
made
my
me
God.
want to throw my tablet across the room. Um, so so Juan says he wants a piece of Colombia. That's where he's originally from. He wants a piece
Mm,
of Colombia at his wedding. And so Jessica has made the decision to have some of her friends bring over some paper sheets, some colored paper sheets to make paper flowers for their wedding.
right.
And Jessica has this attitude, yes, I'm doing this for you, you should be thankful that I'm doing this for you, and you shouldn't be complaining about anything that I'm doing for you to make it so that you have a piece
Mhm.
of your culture in our wedding. Like,
Wow.
Jessica's sense of entitlement is on a
She's very
Karen
entitled.
level. It's on a Karen level. Like, she's one of those women who be on those body cam
Mm.
police footages that's getting arrested for doing something that she has no business doing. Yeah, she gives me
She's
that.
very. Mm,
I
she's.
don't care for Jessica. And then so
Mm,
Jessica has some friends come over. It seems
mm,
like there's a couple that comes over, and they start making these paper flowers or whatever. And then Jessica's friend brings up the fact that Juan approached Jessica about going back onto the cruise and working on the cruise ship. And it's to me, it's disrespectful for a friend to be
mm.
intruding on issues that's going on between a couple.
I agree.
Especially if you are confronting your friend's partner in that.
Hmm.
I was in a friendship. I am in a friendship with my best friend in the world, and she was in a relationship that was not necessarily healthy for her, but I would not go to that man and tell him, what he needs to do, and he needs to do this and needs to do that, because that's none of my business. That's their business. And so for Jessica's friend to have the freedom to confront Juan about bringing up the fact that he wants to go back onto the cruise, and then for Jessica's friend to inject her views and her opinion as to why he should not be going back onto the cruise is habitually overstepping the line. Like, it's none of your business. It's none of your business. Jessica's friend, and I don't even know what her name is. Don't care what her name is. Doesn't matter to me. I don't give a damn. But I was just cringing so hard when I saw that. And so then later on in the episode, Jessica gives Juan somewhat of an ultimatum. She says, I don't want to be a cruise wife. I don't want you to go back on the cruise. We've discussed this in the past and we're discussing it again. It's either the cruise or your family. Pick one or the other. And the saddest part to me about this couple, Dustin, is the fact that they already have a child. And the
Yes.
fact that they already have a child bonds these two people for life. So no matter what happens between them two, he's always going to be attached to Jessica and her family because of this child. And Juan, to me, does not seem safe in this relationship. He does
Mm.
not seem safe to have his own desires, his own opinions, his own fantasy, his own wants in this relationship. Jessica doesn't do things for him just out of the kindness of our heart. She's doing things for him more than likely for the cameras, more than likely to seem like she's a good wife or a good soon to be wife. I don't like Jessica at all. To me, it's a three-way tie between the women that I don't like on this show. It's Shekinah, Jessica, and Stevie. I don't like any of these women at all. They don't treat their men right. They don't treat their men the way that they deserve to be
Nope.
treated. They are taking their men for granted. They're not showing appreciation for their men. But Juan eventually says that he'll choose his family over the cruise. Dustin, what are your thoughts on Jessica and Juan? And
I don't
just,
like
just just let me know.
I don't like Jessica at one point, blank point, but no, I don't like her. Because I don't think that you should be choose. I don't think you should be having to choose your job over your family to a
Mhm.
certain degree, Jonathan. Because your job is what's keeping your family afloat. Is that not right?
Yes.
You have to have money to live. So he's wanting to have. He wants to go back on this. He wants to go back on the cruise to get the most money. Because you probably get more money on a cruise than when you do working for a regular job. And that's just because it's a contract. You get, they have a certain amount of money that they get a contract for. And I can support him going back on the cruise. just because he wants to keep the family afloat. But she don't understand that side. She just wants him to be there with the family, and I can also understand her side to a certain degree. But there also you have to make sacrifices in a relationship. I'm not gonna say marriage because they're not married yet, but you know what I mean. Yeah, they
Mhm.
don't under. She does not understand that you can't get that kind of money and this kind of and working in this state. You know, we have a minimum wage. Sometimes we don't even get paid more than the minimum wage in this country, and it's sad, John, that it really is. But I'm just saying, sometimes you have to go someplace else to work and get paid more money, and sometimes that has to be on a cruise ship. And that's what's the point blank up here. I don't like her point blank at all.
And here's my thing. I understand why Jessica doesn't want Juan to go back on the cruise. She doesn't want to have to raise their child alone. She doesn't want to be away from her husband. If my husband told me he wanted to work on a cruise, I would definitely not be happy about that at all, whatsoever. However, for her to give him an ultimatum in the situation that they are in, he is not from this country. So him getting a good paying job in this country is very
Yeah,
slim to none. And that's what he wants to do. He wants to make the money that he's used to making. And for Jessica to not even take that into consideration and only consider what she wants and not consider what he wants. She doesn't care about what he feels. She doesn't care about what he wants. And to me, that is so ugly. And to me, that is so unloving. And also in the preview for the next episode, Dustin, when she says that she doesn't want to learn Spanish,
that's
and it's wait,
disrespectful.
so what? So wait a minute. So you don't want him to go on a cruise, but when he asks you to make an effort to start speaking Spanish, which is his native tongue, which he obviously will probably want his son to learn, you say no.
That's disrespectful.
Excuse me? Like the entitlement, Dustin, is just on a Karen level,
She's very entitled and very controlling.
and I don't like it. I don't
Mm,
like it at all, not one bit. But let's move forward to the last couple that we
mm,
have, Shekinah and Sarper, and we
oh,
can kind of hit it and quit it with Shekinah and Sarper because their whole thing was ridiculous. And what irks me the most, Dustin, is when these American women, because it's typically the American women, when these American women
oh,
have these scenes with their partner and the American woman's friends. So the American woman's friends are all on her side, and so
mhm,
it's almost like an ambush to persuade the partner to do what it is that the American woman wants her partner to do. So first of all, Shekinah is having a conversation with Sophie, her daughter, who's her daughter. Um,
mhm,
Excuse me, I'm sorry about that. She and Shekinah says that she does not want to get married to Sarper unless her daughter approves of it. Now, I don't believe that for one hot second. I don't believe that at all. Girl, you was living over in Turkey, thousands of miles away from your daughter, but you saying that you're not going to marry Sarper if she doesn't approve. I don't believe that for one bit. But anyway, so
mhm, mhm,
Shekinah and Sarper, they're going to meet up with Shekinah's friends. There are about six of them all together. And Shekinah and Sarper are having this meeting because they want to let her friends know that they're not having an actual wedding. They're having a bedding. Bedding meaning that they're going to get married in bed, which tells me that Sarper and Shekinah's relationship is based off of sex. That's what this means to me, because a lot of times when they're having issues, they have sex to work out their issues, much like Ashley and Manuel a couple of seasons ago. And if that works for you, so be it. However, you have to make sure you're still dealing with your issues that got you into that place to where you were not on good terms. But
mm.
they
They just,
they they
they just,
said that
it
they
just
said
sets
that
me off to a red flag. That's just a red flag to me.
it is a red flag, absolutely, because your relationship with someone, your love for someone, just cannot be based off of your sexual relationship. Like relationships are so much more than sex. Yes, that is a big part. It is a very big part of your relationship, but your relationship can't thrive off of just sex. But anyways, also earlier in the episode, Shekinah got a tattoo of Sarper's name on her neck in red
Mm.
ink, which I don't know about you, Dustin, but I could barely make out Sarper's name on that tattoo. I don't know if she
I
did
couldn't
that
see it. I couldn't see it. I couldn't see
Right.
it.
I don't know if she did that purposefully, so it's not really that noticeable because, if she did it in black ink, you'd be able to see it no problem. But red ink on Shekinah's skin tone, you really can't see it. And also, Sarper got Shekinah's lips tattooed on his neck as well, which I've always loved those neck tattoos, those lip tattoos. I thought I've always like seeing those. But anyways, and so Shekinah's friends are really not happy with the fact that Sarper and Shekinah are going to have a wedding and not a wedding because of course they want to they want to be a part and participate in their wedding and their nuptials. And
Mm.
of course if my friend told me that they wanted to get married and they were just going to do it on their own, maybe go out to the courthouse and have that done, because are you going to have a minister in your bedroom marrying you off? Or I don't
Mm.
exactly know. I've never heard of a wedding. I don't know exactly how that's supposed to go, but anyways, then the subject of a prenup comes up. Now, was
Mm.
it one of Shekinah's friends that brought up this subject, or was it
Yeah,
Shekinah herself?
it was one of Shekinah's friends. It was her business business manager brought it up.
Gotcha. And so Sarper seems to be offended by the thought of signing a prenup for Shekinah. And
Hey, Mamir.
hey, Mamir. And Sarper's like, well, in my country, you asking for a prenup, you asking for an ass whooping. Mamir says down in the comments, I have to go um, change a nappy. A little someone is pretty dang stinky. Oh, she has to change a diaper. Oh, okay, all right, Mamir. Anyways, and so Sarper says, well, that's not something that we do in my country. But then Sarper counters Shekinah's offer with, okay, I'll sign the prenup with a condition that you are not to be over a certain weight. I believe he said 120 pounds, but I could be wrong about that.
Mm.
But he said that he's going to weigh her once a month and make sure that she is not over a certain weight, which this seems to be something that Sarper has done in the past. I did not see when he weighed her in the past, which I guess a lot of women will probably have an issue with that. I'd probably have an issue with that as well, but I give Sarper a pass because he's so fine and I love him so much, and all that good stuff. But anyways, so Sarper says, well, if you want me to sign a prenup, then we're gonna add some conditions to this prenup. You can't be over 120 pounds. And then everyone gets all up in arms, everyone has an issue with it, everyone thinks it's so ridiculous. And Shekinah says, Sarper's just saying that because he's pissed off at the fact that I asked him to sign a prenup. And Sarper says, Sarper is clearly the breadwinner in this relationship. Sarper clearly has some business over in Turkey or somewhere else, wherever he gets his money from, that's extremely lucrative. And so Sarper says, well, I'm the one with the money. And so Shekinah's friends are like, well, yeah, so it works out the best for the both of you. It's to protect both of you, which I can understand that opinion. However, once again, why are we bringing up prenups less than a week before we're going to get married? Like,
That don't make no
what kind
sense.
of sense does this make? And so
None.
I'm always going to be on Sarper's side, no matter what happens. Well, I can't say no matter what happens, because I might have said that about Rob, and we all know where that went. But Sarper is not in the wrong for because to me it is a tit for tat type of thing. I don't think Sarper. Well,
Mm.
I can't say that. I don't think Sarper would abide by that, because I'm thinking Sarper probably would abide by that condition if he were to put it in the prenup. But Dustin, what were your thoughts on this whole? First of all, on the tattoos. Did you like the tattoos, and also this conversation surrounding a prenup between the two?
I like the tattoos, but I hope they don't regret it because
Mm-hmm.
you can't remove a red ink because red ink is very hard to remove, Jonathan.
Mm-hmm.
And they even said that in the show. So
Mm-hmm.
I hope you don't regret it, but I hope the best for you. I really do, but I don't think that it would be. Surfer is really getting. I support Surfer, and then Shekinah. I don't agree with Shekinah this season at all. Period. Point blank. And then, mm, thank you.
Yeah. Honestly, if I had it my way, Sarper would leave Shekinah's ass high and dry, her big lip ass high and dry. He would leave her at the altar, Sarper. Leave her at the god darn altar. Just I Shekinah don't appreciate that fine man. She don't
Mm,
appreciate that fine man. And so many women would do anything to be with a man like Sarper. Beautiful body. He had his shirt off at the beginning of the episode. Like, girl, like you don't appreciate what you got. And you got the nerve to ask this man for a prenup and he makes more money than you. Like, because so to me, that just tells me, especially since both of them make pretty good money, to me, I feel as though the prenup was brought up just for drama's sake, just for the TV show's sake. I
yeah.
hope that because Shekinah didn't even seem serious about it when they were discussing it at the table. She really didn't seem like that's something that she actually realistically wanted to do. It just seemed like she was
Mm-mm.
going along with it because her friends brought up the subject. But
Right.
but you know, I don't dislike Shekinah nearly as much as I dislike Jessica and Stevie, but Shekinah's still on my hit list. Like I just
I don't like Shekinah at all.
I I
Yeah.
wish she would act as though she has to act for me to get back in my good graces. Not that it matters to her, because I know it don't matter to her, but in order for her to get back in my good graces, I think she needs to show him some appreciation, maybe a little bit more affection,
Mm,
something to make it seem as though she appreciates Sarper being in her life.
mm-hmm.
Whew, Lord, that was a lot, Dustin. That was a
It
whole
was a
lot.
lot.
I can't believe we got through that. I can't
Yeah.
believe I got through it without punching out my laptop mid sentence. But Dustin, why don't you go ahead and give us your social media contacts before we get out here real
My
quick?
social media contacts are Dustin Butler, my Facebook, and my Instagram is Dustin Butler 700. I want to thank Jonathan for always being here, and my whole entire team for always being here for me. So thank you very much, everybody, and we'll see you guys next week for the episode 17. Same time, same place, same beautiful faces, and thank you, Jonathan, very much.
You're very welcome, Dustin. You guys can follow me on Instagram. My Instagram is JoJo_speaks3020. My Facebook is Jonathan Lee. My email is WilliamJonathanLee@gmail.com. My Cash App is $Jonathan Lee 07. That's $JONATHANLEE 07. You guys make sure to join me on Thursday night at 8 p.m. for my live Hot Topics and Social Commentary live. We always have a lot of fun on Thursday nights. And yeah, thank y'all so much for watching. Thank you, Tammy. Thank you, Bianca. Thank you, Mamir, for all being down there in the comments. I love you guys for watching. That's my favorite part about doing these reviews and doing these lives is
Love the
interacting
reaction.
with you guys. So I love you guys for watching. Join us next week, as Dustin said, same time, same place, same beautiful faces. Until then, hope you guys have a wonderful and safe week. And yeah, stay good out there. Love you guys for watching. See you later.
Is Jennifer still going live tonight?
I'm not sure. I'll
Okay.
have to ask her.
All right.